Hello everyone. Uh, my name is Karthik Kharbanda, and I am one of the faculties at IGC. Today I want to discuss a very important topic in discrete maths, that's combinatorics, right? That's basically your permutation and combination. In the past, in my all teaching experience, I have seen that the basics of students is very weak when we bring up this topic. So that is why what we'll be doing today is we'll be just covering few basic concepts that we have in permutation and combination, right? So let us start with covering what is a selection. Okay. So I'll say a statement something like, given n things, our job is to select r things out of those n things where r can be less than n as well as r can be equal to n also. Okay. So this work can be done in NCR ways. That means NCR will be nothing but n factorial divided by r factorial into n minus r factorial. Okay. So given n things, you have to select r things out of those n things. So this is how that can be done. Okay. So that can be NCR ways, right? NCR ways. Okay. So this is the selection thing. So next thing is the arrangement. Okay. So what do we mean by arrangement? Arrangement is nothing but once you have done your selection, once your selection procedure is over, now your job is to try and find how many different arrangements of selected things is possible. Okay. So suppose we selected n things. Okay. And then out of those n things, I need to find how many different uh, arrangements are possible without any condition. Okay. So if I want to find these arrangements, what I'll do is I'll place n blanks, and in each of the blank, I'll have some choices, right? So if I talk about the first blank, till now I have not placed anything. So for the first blank, I have all the n choices available, all the n things. Out of those n things, anyone can come in the first blank. Okay. So let me put somebody over here. Okay. So I've put this, right. Let me put it over here. Next is for the next blank, next consecutive blank, I will have n minus 1 choices because somebody is already placed in the first blank. Whosoever it is, remaining n minus 1 things can be placed in the second blank. Okay. And then for the third blank, I'll have choices, remaining choices as n minus 2. Right. So if I continue this pattern, I'll be able to analyze that for n different people or n different things, there will be n factorial total arrangements, because that will be nothing but n into n minus 1, okay, into n minus 2, and so on till you have 1. Okay. So this is how your arrangement will take place. Okay. So why I discuss these two, selection and arrangement, is because these two things form the basis of permutation and combination. Okay. So now let me discuss what types of solution are available with us when we have any permutation and combination problem and we want to solve it. Okay. So the first set of solution is, it actually has three categories if you can see. So basically what we have is, we have to identify that that particular question belongs to which of the category. That means that question has selection only criteria, or it requires arrangement only, or it requires selection and arrangement both. Okay. So later in the video, I'll discuss an example. Using an example, I'll tell you how do we identify whether that's a selection only, arrangement only, or selection plus arrangement. Okay. So this is the type 1 method that we have, right? So next method that we have is type 2 method, which is fundamental counting principle. Okay. So I'll not go in detail right now because I want to really solve an example and then tell you what these methods are. Okay. So this is the fundamental principle of counting. Now, one thing you should remember is, either you can use type 1 method or you can use type 2 method. Both the methods will give you the right answer. Only difference is, for some type of problems, type 1 will give you answer more easily, and for other type of problems, type 2 will give you the answer more easily. Okay, so it is dependent on the question which method will give you answer more easily. So you have to learn both of the methods, and then you have to apply accordingly, so that your life does not become difficult. Okay, so now this is the problem statement I'm using to understand what is basically a combination. Okay, so problem statement is, we have to select or choose 10 students for 7 chairs, and the assumption that we are making is one student can occupy only one chair. That means more than one student cannot sit on a single chair. Okay, so that means we have 10 students, we have 7 chairs, and we have to select out of those 10 students which of the students will sit on 7 chairs. Okay, so how many such possible ways are there for that particular selection? Okay, now if you see, now I'll just go back to the type 1 method, and you have been given this question. Okay, so now your job is to identify which category this question belongs to out of selection only, arrangement only, or selection plus arrangement. So when I'm saying I need to select, that means I only need to tell out of those 10 which 7 students will sit on the chair. Okay, I don't have to make them sit on the chair, I have to only select which 7 students will sit on the chair. So that means that particular question is selection only category. Okay, so usually the questions which belong to selection only category belong to combination problem. That is your combination problem. Okay, selection only category becomes your combination problem. So this is the detailed solution with all the explanation. So basically what is a combination? Combination is, this involves selection only problems, and here the order of the arrangement selected does not matter. That means if I have 3 students and there are 3 chairs, A, B, or C, arranging them on 3 chairs, or I'll arrange them as B, A, or C. That means first student which is sitting on the first chair is B, second is A, and third is C. These two are same. Okay, that means I really don't care about the arrangement which is done. What I need to make sure is every time A, B, and C are selected. Okay, you can select them as BAC also, all CAB also. Everything is same. So arrangement does not matter in these kind of questions. Remember that. So this is the solution that for the previous problem. So you have to choose 7 students out of 10. Okay, and then only those 7 students will occupy 7 chairs. Remember, I am not talking about arrangement here. Okay, so this is a selection only category, right? So if you remember, now in the first slide I mentioned what is selection. Selection is, you have n things and you have to select r things out of those n things, where r is less than or equal to n, right? So basically you have 10 students and you have to select 7 out of 10, right? So that can be done in 10c 7 ways. Okay, and 10c 7 you can write, so these means 120 ways. So basically what this 120 says is, there are 120 ways in which we can select a group of 7 students out of 10 to make them sit on 7 chairs. Okay, this is what I have. This is what my number 120 represents. There are 120 such ways in which you can form a group of 7 people selected out of 10 people to make them sit on 7 chairs. Okay, so this was a typical example of selection only category, right? So to understand permutations, we'll take this problem statement. Now the problem statement is little changed. What we have is, now we have to arrange 10 students on 7 chairs, and the assumption still remains same. That means assuming only one student will sit on one chair, right? So what we have to do is, we have to arrange 10 students on 7 chairs. Now see, I know that 10 students cannot sit directly on 7 chairs, right? What I have to do is, so this involves two things. Okay, this involves two things. So basically what I have to do is, I have to first make a selection. Okay, first I have to, out of those 10 students I have to make a selection and choose any 7 students, and then out of those 7 students I have to make them arrange on the chairs. So that means I have to arrange those 7 students now. So that particular question belongs to selection plus arrangement category. Okay, so every possible hint is given in the question. Now it is up to you that whether you are able to get those hint and identify which category the question is from. Okay, so this will come with practice only. So although, see, if you might have noticed one thing, when I mentioned this problem statement, I said we have to arrange. I never said you first select and then arrange. But the thing is, since there are more number of students than the chairs, that is why I have to first select some students that is equal to the number of chairs, and then only I can arrange them on all the chairs. Okay. So basically, they'll not say select and arrange, they'll only say arrange. Now it is your job to identify whether that's arrangement only or whether that's selection plus arrangement. Right. So now let us formally define what a permutation is. Permutations are number of different arrangements possible in some given scenario, like the scenario we had in the just problem just we discussed. Okay, so this now has two class of questions. Two class of questions. One class is which involve only arrangement. Okay, that means selection might have been done for you. So let's say if I modified the previous question and said that we have to arrange 7 students on 7 chairs. Okay, that means you have one student for each chair. So I don't have to do any selection. All I have to do is arrange them in on the chairs. Okay, so that is arrangement only. So their selection would be 7C7 because I have to select all of them, right? And second class of question is where selection is involved and after that arrangement, both are involved. Okay. And one other thing, since in permutation we talk about arrangements, so BABC and BAC we are two different ways. They are not the same now. Okay. ABC means, let's say there are 3 students, name A, name B, and name C, and they are arranged on first 3 chairs. Okay, so then your ABC and BAC, it is two types of arrangements and they are different when we talk about permutations. Okay, so this problem that we just discussed, I want to discuss the solution for it. So I hope everyone has understood that this problem belongs to selection plus arrangement category, right? Now we'll discuss the solution. So guys, just remember one thing. Every time you get this problem, selection plus arrangement, it is very simple. What you have to do is first you have to solve for the selection part. Always first do for the selection part, then go for the arrangement part. Okay. So what I'll do is I will say that I need to select 10 students and make them sit on 7 chairs. So of course, all 10 students cannot occupy all chairs. So what I'll do is out of those 10 students, first I'll select 7 students. These 7 students now will occupy the 7 chairs. Okay. So 10C7 is actually giving you all the possible ways in which you can have those 7 students, different group of 7 students, and each group will have 7 ways because those 7 students have to be arranged on 7 different chairs. That is why we have this multiplication sign. Okay, so because for each group of 7 students selected, we will have 7 different arrangements. Okay, and this is the concept I have again explained for arrangement. So first chair, any 7 students can sit. That means the choice for first chair is 7. Next chair you'll have 6 choices. Next will have 5 and so on. So for each group of 7, we will have 7 different arrangements. So your answer for this question would be 10C7 into 7 factorial. That means 10 factorial divided by 3 factorial. You can compute this and you can get your number of ways. Okay. So this is number of ways in which 10 students can be arranged on 7 chairs. So these are the basic two categories in which the question belongs to. So if you have understood whatever I've done till now, so type 1 method is over. Type 1 method we have discussed, which has 3 categories: selection only, arrangement only, and third is selection plus arrangement. Okay. Next is permutations using a principle of fundamental counting, okay, or fundamental counting principle, whatever. So now what do we do is, remember one thing in this, you have to just be clear on one small thing. Whichever item is less, you will take that as your in your dash. That means if your chairs are less, students are more, that means your students will be left later on. Some students will not be able to occupy the chairs, right? So that means each blank that is here, it represents one chair, it represents one chair. So I have seven such blanks, that means I have seven such chairs. Now I will not do any selection or arrangement separately. What I'll do is I'll have the choices. So for first chair, now I have all 10 students who can occupy first chair. So for first chair, my choices will be 10. Similarly, for second chair, my choices will be 9. Similarly, for third chair, my choices will be 8, and so on. So for the last chair, I have 4 students as choice. Okay. So every time I do that, 3 students will be left unoccupied. Okay. Right. They won't be able to occupy any chair. So again, to find the total result, I will multiply them, because every chair is occupied by one student and remaining students will try and choose the other chairs. Okay, so this is a and case. And remember, in permutation, whenever you speak up things, if you're speaking and, that means you have to multiply things. If you're speaking or, that means you have to add up things. Okay, so this is why I'll just multiply them separately, and I can write this equivalent to this only. Okay, so if you observe, 10 factorial by 3 factorial is the answer that we got previously also, using selection plus arrangement method, and using fundamental principle counting also you can get 10 factorial by 3 factorial. So guys, remember one thing, both of the methods can give you the right answer. Only difference is one will be, in few questions one will be difficult and the other one will be easy. And one observation in this method is that this method internally takes care of selection and arrangement both. It takes care of selection and arrangement both. Okay, so now the questions of course are not that easy, right? I'll just explain you few basic questions. So sometimes what they do is they apply some condition on either selection or arrangement. Okay, so that is why you have to be careful on which method you choose. For example, something like, I can say, select 10 students, and you have to make them sit on 7 chairs such that two particular students will always sit together, or three particular students will always sit together. That means now I have added a condition on the in the question. The condition is that three particular students will always sit together. That means now you have to take care of that condition also. So accordingly, you have to choose your method, which one will be easier for you. Okay. So this is how we can make any permutation question or combination question difficult for everyone. Okay. You keep on adding conditions and you increase the complexity of the question. Okay. So what we'll try and do is we'll try to discuss a gate question. This question came in 2020 exam in computer science. Okay, so the question is, you have to find the number of permutation using the characters LILAC so that no character appears in its original position, and another thing is two L's are indistinguishable. That means those two L's are same. Okay, you cannot distinguish them. Okay, right. So first thing is you have to understand, if I have something like this, first, always it's a good idea to find out the total arrangements possible without even thinking what is the condition given to us. So if you read the question once again, you can identify the condition that is given to us is no two characters or no character should appear in its original position. That is the condition given to us. Okay. So what I'll suggest is, whenever you are attempting a permutation combination problem, always try to find the total arrangements first, which are without any condition. Okay, so what I'll do is I have the words LILAC, right? So since I have these five letters, I need to find what are the total arrangements possible using all the letters, right? So if we choose method 1 in this, so basically I will not select anything because I have 5 letters and I need 5 letter word only. That means 5C5. Okay, that is your selection. And then you have to find the all possible arrangements. Okay, so arrangements would be something like 5 factorial by 2 factorial. Okay, so why I am dividing by 2 factorial is because I have two L's. These two L's are same. Okay, so basically my letters are these Lilac, and there is a repetition of L twice. So that means I'll do a 5 factorial divided by 2 factorial. So if you see, I've written the reason here because two L's are repeated. Okay, so in general the method for this is, if you have R letters which are repeated and you have total of n letters, so total arrangements possible are n factorial divided by R factorial. Okay, and now why do we do that? There's a whole different story behind that, so we'll not be going into that. Okay, so this is the total arrangement possible. Guys, now one good thing is, if any answer, if any of the options is greater than 60, you can directly cancel them out because they cannot be the answer, since 60 is the maximum arrangements possible. Okay? So if you have option like 80 or 120, just cancel them out. They'll never be the right answer. Okay? So this is one benefit of calculating total arrangements. Right? So this is the statement that I've given when your letters or anything is repeated. Okay, so now next thing is, what I'll do is I'll choose method 2 because it is more easier to solve, or you can say it is a kind of a combination of method 1 plus method 2 to explain. Okay, so what I'll say is, if you see this position and this position, these two were occupied by L, both the L's in the original word. That means these two positions can be occupied by either I, A, or C. L cannot come because the condition is no character should appear in its original position, right? So these two positions are occupied by either I, A, C. That will give us our different words. Now I have two positions and I have three variables, right? I need to place out of these three variables, I need to place two variables. That can be done in 3C2 ways. So now out of these three, I have selected two which I need to place, right? And again, selection after that arrangement also, right? So 3C2 into 2 factorial. This is the arrangement for whatever 2 we have selected, right? Now our job is not done. We have to fill the position 1, 2 and 3 as mentioned in the slide. Position 1, 2 and 3 I also have to place, right? So guys, remember one thing. I've selected two students or two letters here, and the third letter will be left. Okay, then third letter will occupy either 1, 2 or 3. Okay, now which places out of 1, 2 and 3 the third letter can occupy? See, if suppose the third letter left is, let's say, out of I, A and C, third letter left is C. That means I and A occupied first this and this position. So then C has to occupy either 1, 2 or 3. Now C cannot occupy third position because C belong to the third position itself. So C cannot come in the third position. So C has to occupy either 1 or 2. Okay. So since C has two choices only, so if let's say C occupies first, so in 2 or 3 you will place both the L's. Okay. And if C occupies second, so in 1 and 3 you will place both the L's. Correct. That means for C, I'll have two more ways. Okay. That means either C can come to 1 or C can come to 2. Now you will say, sir, you told only about C. What about A? Okay. We'll consider A also. Let's say instead of C, what happened was A was left. Basically, you selected I and C for this and this place, and then A was left to occupy either 1 or 2 or 3. Okay, so if you see in this LILAC, A A occupied the second place. That means A occupied this place. So in our words, A cannot come in number 2 position. That means A has to either occupy first or third position. So A again has two choices, and then later on L, both the L's can occupy whatever places are left, and you will get another word. Similarly, things will happen for I. Okay, so it won't matter which alphabet is, which letter is left when you do a 3C2. Whichever letter is left in this doing in 3C2, you will know that that particular letter will occupy only two positions, either of the two positions, and remaining positions L will occupy and will get the third word. This is why the answer for this question would be 3C2 into 2 factorial, done. And then last two is because whatever letter is left, that will occupy out of 1, 2 and 3 position. It will occupy any two position but not the third one. Okay, so the answer for this is 3C2 into 2 factorial into 2, that is 12 number of ways. So 12 is the correct answer. So I hope this session was informative for you, and I hope you learned something new. I'm Karthik Kharbanda signing off. See you in some next tutorial.